Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to Enterprise Morning on Enterprise Television. I am Kendi Bodun.
And I am Henry Ikwebiki.
It's the start of a new day, and we are glad to have you on the show. We will kick off with today's newspaper review before diving into the main conversation of the day. Trust me, you don't want to miss a moment with us. You can join the conversation by dropping your comments, liking, and following us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. Now, joining us to share the matters at hand is Barrister Evans Feli. He is a barrister and a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning,
thank you
Barrister.
very much. Yeah. Good morning, thank you.
So let's start with the first daily. What do we have?
Okay, we have the Punch newspaper, and on the Punch Blame Depot has petrol nears 1,000 naira per litre.
And also on the top strip, we have a strike. A National Assembly wades into ASU federal government dispute.
Okay, still on the top strip of Punch newspaper, we have Edwin, Align and Finance Minister flown abroad for treatment. And
also acting INEC chair outlines plans for Anambra poll.
Still on the top strip, we have court adjourns suit seeking to stop PDP convention.
And also court equally orders exhumation autopsy of Afriland TARS fire victims.
Still below that, we have Tinubu hails Eagles as Osime fires Nigeria to World Cup playoffs.
All right, so let's just start with the sad story. Of course, it's a week plus now, Barrister.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it. Why do you think the court would order for the people who have died as a result of a mishap in the Afriland building, they've been buried? Why would the court order for them to be exhumed?
Well, I don't know the detail of the case, but the court will make such order if there's an application before the court that possibly is to, if evidence have been concealed as a result of that, or if there's a coroner inquest for which there are certain examination of bodies and the situation. I mean, the peculiarity of the case, the court will not make such an order if it were not necessary, if it were not to get to justice, if it were not targeted at having the court to properly examine the case. The court will not make such order. But for the court to make such orders, I know that it is for the purposes of ascertaining perhaps the veracity of the information before the court. I mean, information people have brought before the court. So something must have triggered that order.
So does it mean that possibly the families of the deceased would have gone to the court to seek for this?
That's what I'm saying. You know, we don't have the details of what is in court, what was filed, applications and the rest of that. So we don't know. I mean, there may be certain demands that have been made, or there may be some things that, just like the case of Mohbad, he was buried and exhumed, okay, because of the controversy surrounding his demise. So this may not be unconnected to some issues, whether they are directly or indirectly, or something must have triggered the court to make such orders. It is not a regular thing that people come out and say, you know what, go and exhume the dead just for the fun of it. Nobody does that. It must something very expedient must have necessitated this action. So I think that is what it is.
And also, I learned that in Lagos State, there's a policy that if a house, crumbles, the government takes over that particular piece of property. Of course, that could be natural cause. I do not know if this is another natural cause because it is very avoidable. Do you think in the case that led to the death of 10 persons, that the government could equally apply the same policy for the Afriland property itself?
Yeah, well, it depends. It all depends on the circumstances surrounding the entire issue. Government taking over properties where buildings have collapsed couldn't have necessitated exhuming corpse. I mean, alone. Okay, yeah, because The reason government take over such properties because there is a penalty level against people building structures that are not durable, using quacks to construct buildings, sometimes 8, 6, 10-story buildings. And you don't have the right kind of engineers, or you have the right kind of engineers, you don't have the right kind of materials. You don't have the right quality control. You award a contract, you give it to an engineer, he's buying substandard materials, nobody is on site, okay, to check and under-check what, no quality control engineer on site to manage the quality of materials brought to site and the rest of that. So when you have such kind of situation, Lagos State government use that to get back at people who do that.
Okay.
You understand? To take over the property and the rest of that. But that in itself couldn't have been why people have been exhumed in the case under reference. Yes, it could have been other extraneous issues, but not really, because part of the law and the policy of taking over does not say that when people die in the course of that collapse and they are buried, they must be exhumed. Okay. For what cause exactly? It's not for anything very significant.
Yes.
Okay, so how prepared are Nigerian cities for emergency response?
I don't think we are prepared for emergency.
Okay.
Maybe because we are not in countries, we are not a country that is prone to natural disaster. Our own disaster is poverty and government mismanaging resources and corruption. That's our own disaster, which is self-inflicted. It's not a natural disaster where in some place of the world the earth will just shift. People will cave in. You understand? So sometimes you have tremors, you have earthquakes, outright earthquakes, you have storm, sometimes flooding that overrun cities. Okay? So when you talk about a country like Netherlands, for example, was built, an island built for emergency. The way the country is constructed, you see, even the way they farm, they grow soilless crops, and they feed almost the whole of Europe in that small space. Okay, so those kind of cities, if you look at the drainages, the central sewage and the central, everything is central. Okay, everything is central. There's an emergency. There's an exit from the country. In the event of an emergency, everybody will leave the country and everybody will be safe. They all have all that. In Ireland, Dublin to be specific, you see how it is built to the created rivers, okay, so that when it rains, the flood is drained away and the city is left on a high scale. So you will have a lot of, but in the Nigerian case, Africa, we are in the temperate region, okay. We are in the tropics. We're in the tropics, okay. In tropics region where the weather is favorable, it's practically hot. When it rains, it's not disastrous. It's not stormy, okay. Unlike in places where you have to check the weather before you go out. They make announcement that there's going to be a tornado. I remember then I was in Atlanta. It was announced over the radio that people should be indoors between the hours of 7 and 8. There was going to be a tornado. And as at that time it struck, took many houses off the way, and a lot of people were injured. So we're not in places, we're not in that kind of region. So to say that we're ready for the emergency, and I don't think we're ready. I don't think, where is it in Lagos, in Abuja, or where? Exactly. We're just fortunate that we don't have that, we're not predisposed to the hazards of the earth in terms of natural disaster. If we were, maybe we'll be thinking better, maybe we would have done better.
All right, from there, let's maybe move on to the Guardian newspaper. Yes, we have the big story. APC consolidates power as Amba ends PDP's 26-year reign in Enugu.
Okay, on the top strip we have PDP postpones INEC meeting, or NEC,
that's NEC meeting, yeah.
Indefinitely.
And also we have IMF Cardoso isolate Nigeria from global uncertainty, raise growth prospect.
We also have FG approves new admission reforms, raises tertiary intake for 1 million yearly.
And also states businesses embrace $3 billion solar fund as national grid wobbles.
We also have how ASU's actions allegedly sabotaged FG's truth efforts.
So, brothers, let's get to APC yet again. Consolidates power as Amba ends the PDP's 26-year reign in Enugu. What's a landmine, if you ask me, that lots of governors are stepping on right now. Couple of hours back, I watched a viral video of Bola asking his commissioners to ensure that whenever they come for sittings, they must wear their Sowaju hats. State capture it is, but what's your take?
No, that one, Bola is an illiterate governor who, when you vote such kind of governor, what do you expect really? Are you expecting to see a very intellectual, sanitized, and progressive cabinet? I mean, what does he have to offer? That is psychophancy. Instead of him to talk about how they can improve on insecurity in the state, how they can tackle insecurity in the state. Those state is very insecure, as we speak. Kidnapping is at its high. The state is battling with erosion, battling with flood.
Cultism.
Cultism. That is its lowest ebb. Kidnapping through the Aduawa Auchi road is like, because the road is bad. Okay. So it's an every commerce affair. Anybody can kidnap anybody at any time. You would think that a serious governor will be thinking about how to nip that in the bud, get his people safe from insecurity, and then build infrastructure. You would think so, but look at what he's doing. Okay, is this to elevate the president or to make him feel good, or what exactly? That I should wear such cap before you get into. I mean, they are his employees anyway, because commissioners are employed by the appointed by the governor, so he can do to them whatever he wishes. But I know that many of them, the ones that have clear heads, will not like what exactly is going on. Then as to this
Peter Amba.
Yes, Peter Amba leaving the PDP. You see, the question I'm asking ourselves, I mean, PDP is postponing a meeting.
Yes, indefinitely.
So now what is left in PDP?
So it's good enough for them to leave?
No, what I'm saying, what is left there? They are supposed to be convening meetings to have, to discuss the affairs of the party and to see how they can put an end to this endless cross-carpet, endless decamp. Because to be fair and true to you, the Constitution did not place any penalty on a governor if you decide to move from one political party to another. It only placed a penalty on the legislature, and that is being violated even on daily basis.
Randomly.
Let alone the one that the Constitution didn't say anything at all. The one you must establish for the legislature that there's conflict in your party, and the conflict has become so bad that the party cannot hold itself. Then you can decamp to another political party. Otherwise, any political party that sponsors you to win election, that's where you should be. If you move, your seat is vacant. That's what the law says. But that has been, especially with the Rivers State case, the judiciary, the legislature and the executive what do you call it? Fubara, and his and the State House of Assembly. With that case, and war that lingered and all that. So the PDP have really put itself out there in a very bad light. So
do we see an imminent death of the PDP?
It appears like if there's going to be a resuscitation, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard because they are losing weight by the day. You understand? Politics is a game of number. Not only is it that they don't have resources, they don't have manpower, and they are not at the center. So a party, newly formed parties are even stronger now than the PDP. You understand? If Adibin Labour is really doing well, if Adibin they are working together, by now they should have been stronger than the PDP. Even the ADC that's coming to play and the rest of that. So this is the time for the APC leadership. What is left of the APC? Jerry Ghana and the rest of them. What exactly are they doing to stop?
But they George.
Yes, what exactly are they doing? You know, because their governors are sabotaging the party. Self-sabotage. The person who had held the party together all this while, that used Yes on Wiki, is the one who even opened the floodgate for this double standard. Because today, you can't tell whether it's an APC or PDP. Unlike before, when he led the party, brought in Secondus and the rest of that, the PDP had, they were able to put up resistance and opposition. You understand? They retain their play, retain Rivers, retain Enugu, retain, what do you call it?
Retained
even Imo at some point.
Akwa Ibom,
Yes. Bayelsa, Delta, and the rest of that. But today, Delta is gone. Akwa Ibom is gone. Enugu is now gone. In fact, there's even the governor of Enugu is also saying it will be a sin not to join APC. You understand? So at the end of the day, what you see is this deflection of the PDP promoting the APC, and that's giving Tinubu a free way to get the next election. And they are doing this because they are not part of the ordinary man on the street who is feeling the pain of the economy and everything. They are using the resources of the state to promote the president to retain power at the detriment of the citizens. Because anything that makes Tinubu win the next election, what they are doing now will be child's play. With the level of hardship that will descend on people, with the way we go about taking loan, you know, making things very tough and difficult for the people, and governors are using the state resources to promote that conduct. The governors have left their people stranded, and they don't care because they are not on the street. The moment they saw that money, Tinubu himself is not even going around and like putting up, even if it's just to talk to the governor as to how they're able to manage these resources and how is it faring, how are the people faring. Nothing like that. And any money you give to governors can never get to the people. He has the do to go and build airport and bridges. Those airports, the poor don't use it. Yeah. Bridges, apart from Lagos, there's no other state in Nigeria that is populated enough for you to be building bridges. Apart from Lagos. All the bridges are building in Warri and all, and that's a waste of time. The cars in Warri, everything put together is not up to the number of cars in Ojodubega. So where's the traffic that you're building this thing for? There's an airport now built in Ogun State.
Yeah.
We have an airport in Lagos here.
Yes.
There's another one they're building at Lekki. So what is it for all this? So, and the Ogun State people don't have roads. There are no access roads from their homes to express, from express to work. And you are building an airport. So you see why I say that? First, the governors are cut off from the people, and they are now joined heirs with the president.
Who is equally not concerned, actually.
Who is not? His own is even nothing. It doesn't bother him. It doesn't bother him. So that is the dilemma. If only we have governors who are conscious of the plight of the people and who are conscious of the damage this government brought to the people, then you will be able to manage the outcome. The governor should be able to manage the outcome. And we need opposition to sustain that. That's what Peter Obi is saying. That you cannot be driving cars convoy of jeeps and all that, buying cars for lawmakers, you know, paying all sorts, living extravagantly in a country where you now have, there's a new report now from the NBS. Are you aware about it? We are now 139 million people now live in multidimensional poverty, as against 133 that was announced a year ago, a year and ago. So now 139 now are living in multidimensional poverty. Multidimensional poverty means that not just that they are living less than $1, they are even living below $0. That's what it means. They're not in multidimensional poverty. And when you look at the Nigerian population, there's an estimation that we have that were 200 million. Some people say 200.3 million now. Okay. Now, if you look at 139 million, you now discover that more than half of the population. You understand? That's about 139 million will be about 70% of thereabouts of the population, or 65 something percent of the population are living in multidimensional poverty. So if you have that kind of misery index, okay, it should not, the emergency at hand does not call for governors to be defecting. It calls for them to use state resources, now that they have more of it, to go to the grassroots, address poverty, address agriculture, address industrialization, address education. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But no, what they are doing, they are building airports, they are building bridges, and whatever is left, they use to decamp. And when they decamp, they will mandate all their commissioners, all the councillors, to move with them to the new political party. This political party are moving with the political party that have no plan, have no structure, have not performed, apart from the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. What other project is on ground that this government is doing other than propaganda? What other project is on ground that we can see visibly? During Jonathan regime, you can point projects moving parallel. This one is going on, this one, that one is going on. They are all going on together. This one, what is going on? So, it's a sad situation we're in.
Very sad situation, and I feel we all have our work to do. Even the citizens are really trying, because we've been able to absorb and take so many things, and that's why I was just telling Henry that it all depends on we as a citizen to determine who will be the next president, because if they are going to be using this as a strategy, then we as citizens, we should also have our own, we should also think strategically to vote for who will be or who will sit on that presidential seat, right?
Very well. Of course, that was equally collaborated by Makinde, who, when asked about the defection, he said that everything is left on the hands of Nigerians to determine who would take the seat of power. So I would love that we leave it for now. We have other stories, but for the want of time, we'll have to leave it for now and say we would be right back in Egypt. Barrister will be here to take us on our main conversation. That's when we return. Federal government introduces flexible entry policy to expand access to higher education. That in the Beauty Still Enterprise Morning. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.